I've never been one for birthday fuss. Yet here I sit at my kitchen table, surrounded by streamers and balloons in various shades of purple, my favorite color since college. 52 years old today. The thought catches in my throat like a fishbone. My fingers trace the edge of the tablecloth, a cream-colored one I bring out for special occasions. The grandfather clock in the hallway chimes 3 times, its familiar sound bouncing off walls covered with framed photos, most featuring 3 children at various ages, their smiles growing more confident with each passing year. The front door opens with a burst of April sunshine. Voices spill into the hallway, familiar, beloved. "Aunt Linda?" Chloe calls out, though she hasn't needed to announce herself in this house for years. "In the kitchen," I answer, smoothing my hands over my slacks. They round the corner together, Chloe and Brooke, identical in height but nothing else, flanking their brother Logan, who towers over them both. My heart swells at the sight. Logan clutches his camera, already lifting it to capture my reaction to whatever surprise they've planned. "Happy birthday!" they chorus, Brooke bouncing on her toes like she still does when excited, even at 25. Chloe places a small box wrapped in silver paper before me. "Open it," she urges, her eyes gleaming. Something in her expression makes my stomach flutter. "What have you 3 done now?" I ask, picking up the box. It weighs almost nothing. Logan adjusts his camera angle. "Just open it, Aunt Linda." I slip my finger under the tape, carefully unwrapping rather than tearing the papera habit from years of making things last. Inside sits a velvet jewelry box. Too large for a ring, too small for a necklace. "This better not be expensive," I warn, though my voice lacks conviction. When I lift the lid, I expect earrings. Instead, a folded check rests inside. I squint at the numbers, certain I'm seeing wrong. $45,000? My name printed in Chloe's neat handwriting. "What is this?" My voice comes out a whisper. Brooke kneels beside my chair. "It's for you." I don't understand. My hands tremble so badly the check flutters. Logan lowers his camera. There's a card. I hadn't noticed it, tucked beneath the check. A simple white envelope with my name. Inside, 3 separate handwriting styles fill the card with messages of love. But one line stands out in bold letters across the top. "For the mother who chose us." My vision blurs. I can't accept this. "You can and you will," Chloe states firmly, her nurse's voice leaving no room for argument. 3 equal shares from our first big bonuses. We've been planning this for years. Brooke wraps her arms around my shoulders, her photographer's hands strong and steady against my shaking frame. "You gave up everything for us, Aunt Linda. Everything." "I didn't." "You did," Logan interrupts, setting his camera down to join the embrace. "Remember that tiny 1-bedroom apartment? You gave us your bed and slept on the pull-out sofa for months." The memory floods back 15 years earlier, standing in the doorway of my sister's chaotic apartment. 3 children huddled in corners like frightened animals. Amber screaming into her phone at her latest boyfriend. Empty cupboards. Hollow eyes. I'd brought dinner that night. Stayed to help with homework. Returned the next day. And the next. "You moved to that bigger place just so we'd have somewhere to stay on weekends," Brooke continues, her voice thick with emotion. "Any decent person would have done the same," I murmur. Chloe shakes her head. "No, they wouldn't have. You worked overtime for years to cover everything we needed. Our first real beds. School supplies. Braces for Logan. The electric bill when Mom forgot to pay it," Brooke adds. "That first time I called you from school," Chloe says quieter, her eyes meeting mine. "Remember? When I was crying in the bathroom because Mom had been gone 3 days? How could I forget? That call changed everything. My careful weekend arrangement transformed overnight into full-time caregiving. Somehow I'd balanced work, 3 growing children, and the constant fear my sister would reappear to undo any stability I'd created. "You never asked for this," I say, looking at the check again. Logan's jaw tightens. "Neither did you. But you showed up anyway. Every single day. Even when Mom screamed at you that day," Brooke says. "When we turned 18 and chose to live with you permanently." The memory stings. Amber's face contorted with rage. "You've always been jealous because you couldn't have kids of your own." Her cruel words hurled like weapons. My quiet resolve as she stormed out. Logan following his sisters a year later. Amber blocking their numbers. Disappearing. Completely. "This doesn't begin to repay what you did," Chloe says, squeezing my hand. "But it's a start." I stare at the check, at their earnest faces, at the life we've built together. I never asked for anything in return, certainly not money. So why does this gift feel like both a blessing and a warning? And who is watching from the shadows as my life is about to change again? I post the photo of the check on Facebook before I can talk myself out of it. My fingers hover over the screen as I type. Proud beyond words of Chloe, Brooke, and Logan, humbled by their generosity. Nothing about the amount. Nothing that hints at the 15 years behind this moment. Just a simple acknowledgement of their kindness. The comments roll in immediately. Hearts, congratulations, questions I ignore about what they gave me. I close the app and set my phone face down on the kitchen counter. 20 minutes later, it buzzes. A text notification from a number I blocked 3 years ago. My coffee mug stops halfway to my lips. I know who it is before I tap to read it. The message appears like a snake slithering across my screen. "I see my babies are doing well. We should talk." My stomach twists into a tight knot. Amber. I set down my coffee with a shaking hand and open Facebook again. I haven't searched for her profile in years, not since she blocked the kids and disappeared after Logan chose to live with me. My sister's page loads with a profile picture I don't recognize. Amber smiling with professionally styled hair, wearing clothes I've never seen. I scroll down and freeze. Post after post about her children. Photos she's pulled from their public profiles. Statuses claiming pride in her nurse, her photographer, and her software engineer. Comments from people I've never met offering congratulations on raising such successful kids. The room tilts sideways. She's been watching them all along, creating a fictional history where she never abandoned them, where their achievements belong to her. The phone rings in my hand. A local number. My mother. "Linda?" Margaret's voice sounds older than the last time we spoke 2 years ago. "I saw your post about the children's gift. How generous of them." I press my lips together, waiting for what comes next. "You should call your sister," she says, her tone shifting to that familiar guilt-inducing cadence. "Family should stick together, especially when there's money involved." The wall clock ticks loudly in the silence that follows. "Mom, I need to go." "Linda." I hang up before she can finish. The phone immediately buzzes with another text from Amber. "Mom says it was quite a gift they gave you. Must be nice living off my children's success." My hands curl into fists. Living off their success? After years of minimum payments on credit cards maxed out for school clothes, birthday presents, and braces? After vacations I never took and promotions I couldn't accept because they required travel? The doorbell rings. Through the peephole, I see Barbara's familiar silhouette, a bottle of wine in one hand. I open the door to find her concerned face and Frank standing behind her, his gray hair wind-tousled. "I saw Amber commenting on your post," Barbara says, walking past me into the house. "Figured you could use reinforcements." Frank follows with a small nod. "And perhaps some legal advice. Thought it might be prudent." "Legal advice?" My voice sounds strange to my own ears. Barbara uncorks the wine while Frank settles at my kitchen table. "I've seen this before," he says, his former attorney's caution evident in his measured tone. "Money changes things, brings out the sharks." My phone buzzes again. Chloe's name appears on screen. "Aunt Linda? Mom just messaged me on Instagram. Did you know she's been following us?" Before I can answer, another call beeps through Brooke this time. The evening dissolves into a blur of calls and messages. My coworker Diane texts that my sister came to the clinic asking for me. Logan reports a friend request from Amber on every platform. My cousin reveals she's been keeping Amber updated about the kids for years. Later, alone in my darkened kitchen, I listen to the voicemail Amber left while I was talking to the kids. Linda. Her voice oozes sweetness that turns my stomach. "Those kids owe me. I carried them. I raised them until you manipulated them against me. I deserve a share of whatever they gave you. 20,000 should cover it. Call me to arrange payment." I drop the phone like it's burning my fingers. The next morning, I arrive at work to find my boss waiting. "Your sister was here again," she says quietly. "I told her you were in meetings all day." By afternoon, my cousin calls in tears. "Aunt Margaret says you're manipulating the kids for their money. She's telling everyone who'll listen." At the family potluck that Sunday, the first I've attended in months, Amber appears like a ghost from the past. Conversation stops as she walks straight toward me. "There she is," she announces, voice carrying across Aunt Ruth's backyard. "The sister who stole everything from me." Eyes turn my way. Some sympathetic, others curious, a few suspicious. Later, Frank shows me what he found online. Amber's bankruptcy filing from last year. A foreclosure notice. Collection agency reports. That night, I check my voicemail one last time before bed. "You'll regret keeping what's mine," Amber's voice hisses through the speaker. "Those kids, that money, all of it should have been mine." As the family I once knew turns against me, I face a choice: fight for the truth or surrender to keep the peace. But there's one piece of evidence Amber doesn't know exists, something that could change everything. The question isn't whether I have it, but whether I have the courage to use it. My hands shake as I gather my purse from the passenger seat. Through the windshield, I spot Amber waiting by the entrance of Cornerstone Coffee, her hair freshly colored and styled in a way that screams expensive salon. I take 3 deep breaths, just like I taught Logan to do before his baseball games when the pressure built too high. She sees me approaching and waves with exaggerated enthusiasm, as if we're long-lost friends reuniting instead of sisters who haven't spoken in 7 years. The last time I saw her, she called me a barren, jealous thief. "Linda." She stands to hug me. Her perfume smothers me, something floral and much too strong. You look exactly the same." Not a compliment. I slide into the wooden chair across from her, keeping my purse in my lap rather than hanging it on the chair back. "Hello, Amber. I took the liberty of ordering you a Kai tea latte." She gestures to the steaming mug in front of me. "You still drink those, right?" I haven't had chai in years, but she wouldn't know that. "Thank you." "So," she begins, leaning forward with practiced sincerity, "I've missed you. Missed the kids, too. They're adults now," I say quietly. "Not kids anymore." Amber waves her hand dismissively. "They'll always be my babies." The words twist in my stomach. Babies she left hungry. Babies she forgot at school. Babies who jumped when doors slammed. I sip the chai to keep from speaking too quickly. "I saw Chloe's post about her graduation," she continues. "Chief resident. And Brooke's photography exhibit. I keep tabs on them, you know. Logan's a little harder to track online. Always was my quiet one." My quiet one. I grip the mug tighter. "Look, Linda, I know things got heated years ago. Her voice drops to a theatrical whisper. We both said things we didn't mean. I didn't say anything that day. I stood silent while she screamed and pointed and finally stormed out, slamming my front door so hard that a framed photo of the twins' 16th birthday fell and cracked. I'm not here to rehash the past, I tell her, setting the mug down. What do you want, Amber? Her smile falters slightly before reassembling itself. Direct as ever. Fine. She pulls a folded paper from her purse. I've been thinking about the kids' futures. Their inheritance. Inheritance? From me, she clarifies, sliding the paper across the table. I'm their mother. I unfold what appears to be a handwritten settlement proposal. My vision tunnels as I scan terms like maternal rights, percentage allocation, and family reconciliation fund. At the bottom, a figure, $20,000. You want me to pay you $20,000? The words taste metallic in my mouth. It's only fair, she shrugs, sipping her latte. They're giving you all this money, but I carried them for 9 months. Twice, in the twins' case. Yesterday, Frank sat at my kitchen table, reviewing receipts I'd kept for 15 years. School supplies, doctor co-pays, clothes, sports equipment, prom tickets, college application fees. The calculator total, $189,436, not counting the second bedroom I maintained for 7 years before they moved in permanently, or the countless nights of lost sleep. The money was a gift. I fold the paper and slide it back. The children are adults. They've made their choices. Because you poisoned them against me. Her voice rises slightly. A man at the next table glances over. I think of the journals stacked in my closet. 13 volumes documenting everything from first tooth losses to driver's license tests. The good, the bad, the mundane miracles of watching children grow. Not for this moment I never imagined needing to prove my devotion, but because someday they might want to know their own history. I never spoke against you, I say truthfully. Not once. Then why did they choose you? She leans forward, mask slipping. Those ungrateful brats owe me everything. Their very existence. The elderly couple 2 tables over stop their conversation, heads turning toward us. I stand up, surprisingly steady. Thank you for the tea, Amber. I need to go now. Sit down, she hisses. We're not finished. We are. I gather my purse. I won't apologize for loving those kids. Her chair scrapes against the floor as she jumps up. You think you're so perfect, don't you? Saint Linda, the childless savior. You have no idea what I've been through. I pause, one hand on my chair back. Neither do they, because you weren't there to tell them. How dare you? Her voice rises to a shout. After everything I've done for. Miss. The barista approaches, concern etched on her young face. Is everything okay over here? Fine, I murmur, stepping away from the table. She's trying to steal my children's money. Amber bounces to the now silent coffee shop. I walk toward the door, my heart hammering against my ribs. Linda, she calls after me. You always run from confrontation. Some things never change. Outside, the April sunshine feels incongruously bright. I make it to my car before the shaking starts, my hands fumbling with keys until I drop them on the pavement. Need help? I look up to see Carla Peterson, who taught both twins in 4th grade. She bends to retrieve my keys. Saw that scene through the window, she says, handing them to me. Amber always did have a flair for drama. You remember her? I ask, surprised. Remember all my students' parents? She smiles. The ones who showed up, anyway. You never missed a conference or event. For any of those 3? My phone buzzes in my purse. Frank, how did it go? Then Barbara, lunch at my place. No arguments. I've gathered reinforcements. Before I can respond, another message appears from my boss. Take all the time you need. We've got you covered here. And finally, in the group text, the children share with me, we stand with Aunt Linda, always. I look up at Carla, who waits patiently beside my car. Are you busy for lunch? Not anymore, she says firmly. As I drive us to Barbara's house, I remember something Chloe once said during her first year of college, after acing an ethics exam she'd worried about for weeks. She called me at midnight, voice bright with triumph. You taught us that truth always has its day. Now, that day is coming, and Amber has no idea what's waiting for her. Would the truth be enough to end this once and for all? I glance at Carla in my passenger seat, then at my phone where messages of support continue to appear. For the first time since Amber's return, I feel the corners of my mouth lifting into something like hope. I spread the papers across my kitchen table, each stack meticulously organized. Medical bills with my signature on the payment line. School registration forms listing me as guardian. Birthday cards addressed to Aunt Linda in childish handwriting that grew steadier over the years. Frank peers at them through wire-rimmed glasses, his legal pad filling with notes. You've kept excellent records, he says, tapping his pen against the yellow paper. Never thought I'd need them. My voice catches. Outside, April rain taps against the window, matching the rhythm of my anxiety. People rarely do, Frank replies, his voice gentle but firm. But documentation like this tells a story Amber can't rewrite. The doorbell rings. My stomach clenches, but it's just Chloe arriving early. She hangs her raincoat by the door, water droplets darkening the wood floor. Sorry, I'm dripping everywhere, she says, bending to wipe the floor with her sleeve. Leave it, I tell her, recognizing her nervous energy. How did your shift go? Her face darkens. Amber showed up at the hospital, claimed chest pains to get admitted to my floor. The room goes still. What happened? She waited until I was alone, then suddenly felt better. Said she wanted to talk about our future as a family. Chloe's fingers drum against her thigh. I called security. The front door opens again. Brooke bursts in without knocking, her camera bag slung over her shoulder. Logan follows, shaking rain from his hair like a puppy. She came to the studio. Brooke announces without preamble. Tried to book a family portrait session, if you can believe it. Logan's jaw tightens. Blocked her at my apartment building. Told the doorman not to let her up. We gather around the kitchen table. The evidence of our lives together spread before us. 4 mugs of coffee steam in the cool air. This feels like a war council. She's getting desperate, I say, pulling a folder from beneath the others. This came yesterday. Inside, a printout of an email Amber sent, threatening to expose unspecified family secrets if I don't convince the kids to share their blessing. Her finger must have slipped on the send button, carbon copying my entire contact list, including my boss and several neighbors. Classic Amber, Logan mutters. Can't even blackmail properly. Frank adjusts his glasses. We should discuss your options. We've already decided, Chloe says, her nurse's voice leaving no room for argument. She places a small video camera on the table. We're telling our story. All of it. My heart pounds. Are you sure once this is public? It was already public the moment Amber started her campaign. Brooke interrupts. Her photographer's eye surveys the room, likely framing our story in her mind. We're just providing the actual footage. I've spent 15 years protecting these children, shielding them from their mother's chaos. The thought of them exposing their wounds publicly terrifies me. Logan places his hand over mine. We're not children anymore, Aunt Linda. For hours, we sit at that kitchen table. One by one, they speak their truth into the camera. Chloe describes sleeping in her clothes in case they needed to leave quickly. Brooke recalls birthday parties Amber promised but never delivered. Logan's voice breaks when he recounts waiting outside school for hours, long after other parents had collected their children. I tell my part too. The late-night calls, the empty refrigerator I'd fill each week, the school conferences where I sat alone, explaining to teachers that their mother was unavailable. We finish as afternoon fades to evening. My throat feels raw, my eyes burn. But something else burns too, a fierce certainty that we've done the right thing. It's done, Logan says, stopping the recording. My phone pings with a notification. Barbara has sent a link to a GoFundMe page Amber created this morning. Help a mother reclaim her stolen inheritance. We gather around my screen, reading Amber's manufactured tale of woe. According to her, I manipulated her children during a vulnerable time, ultimately stealing both their affection and their money. The comments, Brooke whispers. I scroll down, bracing for public judgment. Instead, I find a flood of support. Linda Carlson coached my son's baseball team when no other parent volunteered. She never missed a game even though her nephew was on a different team. Miss Carlson sat with my daughter at the hospital when I couldn't get off work. She wasn't even related to us. Linda bought my twins' school supplies anonymously every September. She thought no one knew. Teachers, coaches, neighbors, people I barely remember helping years ago. They all remember me. This is backfiring spectacularly, Frank says with quiet satisfaction. My phone rings again. Margaret's name flashes on the screen. The first time she's called directly instead of leaving manipulative voicemails. I put it on speaker. Linda? Her voice sounds brittle. Perhaps we should discuss this situation privately, family to family. Logan snorts. Chloe raises an eyebrow. Brooke stifles a laugh. I am discussing it with my family, I reply, looking at the three faces that matter most. They're sitting right here. Later that night, after everyone leaves, I sit alone scrolling through the comments still flooding Amber's fundraiser. Someone has reported it for fraudulent claims. The page disappears as I watch. On impulse, I open my photos and find a picture from years ago twins' 12th birthday. They're blowing out candles on a homemade cake, Logan photobombing from behind. My arms encircle them all. I post it with a simple caption. Some families are born, some are chosen. I'm grateful every day for the family that chose me. Within minutes, my quiet corner of social media explodes with hearts and supportive messages. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Amber's boyfriend, now ex-boyfriend, according to his message. He wants me to know he had no idea about the children's true story. The cracks in Amber's facade are spreading. I close my laptop, suddenly exhausted but strangely peaceful. The truth is finally emerging, and I think the worst might be over. But I've underestimated Amber before. She's always been willing to burn everything down rather than admit defeat. What will a cornered woman with nothing to lose do next? And am I prepared for the final confrontation? The grandfather clock chimes in the hallway, a steady reminder that time moves forward, even when we're afraid of what comes next. I stand in Margaret's driveway, keys clutched in my palm so tightly the metal bites into skin. Behind me, 3 car doors slam in quick succession. You don't have to do this, Chloe says, adjusting her white coat. She came straight from the hospital, still wearing her professional armor. Logan towers beside her, camera bag slung over one shoulder. We can still leave. No. The word comes out steadier than I feel. Some things need facing. Brooke links her arm through mine. Then we face them together. Margaret's colonial house looms before us, the gathering place for every holiday until Amber's final explosion 3 years ago. Yellow light spills from windows onto manicured bushes. Cars line the circular drive. Everyone came to witness the reckoning. Ready? I ask, though none of us truly are. The front door opens before we reach it. Margaret stands framed in light, her face a careful mask of grandmotherly concern. Linda. Her gaze slides to the children behind me. I thought we agreed. I agreed to come, I say. I never agreed to come alone. Her lips purse, but she steps aside. The living room falls silent as we enter. Familiar faces, turn cousins, aunts, Margaret's church friends. Amber sits in my father's old armchair, positioned like royalty holding court. My babies, she breathes, half rising. The twins stiffen on either side of me. Logan moves slightly forward, a physical barrier between his sisters and the woman who abandoned them. Please, everyone sit. Margaret gestures to the arranged circle of chairs. We're here to heal our family. I take a seat directly across from Amber. The children settle beside me, a united front. Logan places his camera bag on the floor, removes a small recorder, and sets it on the coffee table. What's that? Amber demands. Documentation, Logan answers, voice flat. Everyone should know they're being recorded. Margaret's hand flies to her throat. That's not necessary. It's perfectly legal with announcement, I say, and completely necessary. Silence thickens the air until Amber leans forward, tears glistening. I've missed my children so much. Her voice breaks perfectly. Every day without them has been 3,217. Chloe interrupts. Amber blinks. What? Days, Chloe clarifies. Since you last saw us. 9 years minus the 2 days you showed up at my graduation and Logan's baseball championship. You kept count? Amber's laugh sounds brittle. Linda kept count, Brooke says, in her journals. I reach into my bag and withdraw 3 leather-bound books. One for each child. Every milestone, every achievement, every fever and nightmare. Everything you missed. Margaret rises shakily. We're not here to assign blame. We're family. We forgive and forget. Forgiveness requires acknowledgement, I say. Has Amber acknowledged abandoning her children? Or stealing their support checks? Or leaving them alone for days without food? The room stirs uncomfortably. Cousin Betty studies her hands. Uncle Paul suddenly finds the ceiling fascinating. She's exaggerating, Amber says, waving dismissively. And regardless, they've turned out fine. Look at them, successful, wealthy. That money they gave you. Her eyes harden. Family shares blessings. I almost laugh. Is that what this is about? Not 9 years of absence, but $45,000? There are family secrets you wouldn't want exposed, Linda. Amber's voice drops to a threatening whisper. Things nobody knows about you. The old fear rises the need to keep peace, to protect everyone from unpleasantness. But it dissolves when I feel Chloe's hand cover mine. I stand slowly. I kept your children fed when there was nothing in your cupboards. I attended every parent-teacher conference while you were finding yourself with different men. I worked overtime for Chloe's med school applications, Brooke's first professional camera, the emergency room bill when Logan broke his arm skiing. Each child rises beside me, one by one. Aunt Linda helped me write my personal statement for medical school, Chloe says, her voice carrying the quiet authority she uses with difficult patients. She saved for 6 months to buy my first real camera, Brooke adds, then drove me to every sunrise shoot, no matter how early. When I broke my arm, Logan continues, she sat with me all night in the ER, then rearranged her entire schedule to drive me to physical therapy twice a week. I open the journals, placing them on the coffee table. Here's the evidence. 9 years showing up, of being there. Beside the journals, I lay out old bank statements, school photos, birthday cards the children made me, a folder of letters sent to Amber that came back unopened. Amber's face contorts, the mask slipping. "You were always just the backup mother," she spits. The consolation prize nobody wanted. The words hang in the air, the final cruelty laid bare for all to witness. "No," Chloe says, her voice clear and strong. "She was the only mother we had. The only one who wanted us," Brooke adds. "The only one who stayed," Logan finishes. Tears slide down Margaret's cheeks as 9 years of willful blindness crumble. The family sits stunned by truths laid bare in their carefully maintained fiction. I gather the journals and photographs. The children collect the evidence of our shared life. "We're done here," I say simply. We walk out together, steps in perfect rhythm, leaving behind the house where lies lived so comfortably for decades. The night air feels clean in my lungs. As we reach the cars, I wonder if freedom from the past can truly heal wounds this deep. And what will I build with this unexpected second chance? Purple streamers flutter from the ceiling fan, casting dancing shadows across faces that have grown more familiar to me than my own reflection. At 53, I'm a year older and miles wiser, seated at a cherry wood table that bears none of the scars of my old kitchen set. "To Linda," Chloe raises her glass, the engagement ring on her finger catching the afternoon light. "Not just to another trip around the sun, but to new horizons." Behind her, Logan adjusts his camera on a tripod while his girlfriend Amanda arranges plates of finger foods. Brooke and her partner Sam hang the last of the decorations of banner reading "Happy Birthday Mom" in hand-painted letters. "You're making too much fuss," I say, but my protest lacks conviction. The envelope in my hands contains retirement projections based on the careful investments I've made over decades. Not rich by any measure, but enough. Finally, enough. "Open it already," Logan urges, the same impatience he showed as a child when waiting for Christmas morning. I slide my finger under the flap. "I've been thinking about that cross-country trip." "The one you've been planning since we were kids?" Brooke asks, settling into the chair beside me. "The national parks tour?" "Yellowstone first," I nod, unfolding the papers. "Then Zion, Grand Canyon." "Alone?" Frank asks from across the table, his question hanging soft in the air between us. After a year of coffee dates and gallery visits, the word carries weight beyond its single syllable. "Not necessarily," I answer, meeting his eyes briefly before looking away. Barbara snorts into her wine glass. "About time." While they laugh, I cross to the bookshelf where an old photograph sits in a silver frame. Me at 37, standing in front of the apartment building where everything changed. Dark circles under my eyes tell the story that my forced smile tries to hide bone-deep exhaustion, fear, uncertainty. "I found this yesterday," I tell them, running my finger along the frame. "Look how tired I was." "Look how strong you were," Chloe corrects, taking the photo. "God, I remember that day. You'd worked a double shift to afford the security deposit. Worth every minute," I whisper. Brooke appears at my side, arms sliding around my waist. "I've been thinking about what you said in therapy last month. About feeling like you'd lost years of your life." "I was wrong," I admit. "I didn't lose anything. I gained everything." Logan joins us, his height still startling sometimes. "To the woman who showed us what family really means." He echoes Chloe's earlier toast, his voice catching. My phone buzzes on the table. Margaret's name appears on the screen, her third message this month. Last week she asked if we could meet for coffee. After a year of silence, my mother wants reconciliation. The thought no longer fills me with dread. Is that her again? Chloe asks, protective instinct flashing. She can wait, I say, turning the phone face down. Today is ours. The room fills with colleagues who became friends, neighbors who became family. Frank's hand finds mine under the table as Barbara launches into the story of how I started the support group for unofficial parents at the community center. 14 members now, she announces proudly. Linda's changing lives out there. Just sharing what I learned, I demur, though something in me has stopped apologizing for making a difference. Speaking of sharing, Logan says, gesturing toward my garden visible through the French doors, you promised to tell us about your memoir. Just a few chapters so far, I say. The writing class is helping. Later, as twilight paints the sky in shades of lavender and gold, I rock gently on the porch swing. The contrast isn't lost on me how many nights I sat alone in this very spot, wondering if I was enough. Tonight, laughter spills through open windows as Frank helps Barbara demonstrate what they swear is not a dance but rather rhythmic movement therapy. My phone chimes 3 times in quick succession. Love you, Mom. From Chloe. Love you, Mom. From Brooke. Love you, Mom. From Logan. My fingers hover over the screen before typing. Love you more. Always have. Always will. Through the window, I glimpse the framed check on my mantel, positioned beside our latest family portrait. The sight fills me with a certainty I've earned through years of showing up when others walked away. You don't need to share blood to share love. Linda, Barbara calls from inside. You're missing Frank's impression of your garden club president. I turn toward the house, toward the light, toward home.